जैन आगमा ज्ञान।
नमो अर्हंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्.
Bhagavan Sumatinatha. Bhagavan Sumatinatha was born at Ayodhya in the Ikshvaku clan. His father's name was King Megharath and mother Queen Sumangala or Mangalarani. His birth date was the 8th day of the Vaishak Shukla. It is said that the soul of Purusha Simha, who due to vigorous penance and higher spiritual practices earned the Tirthankara Nama and Gotra Karma, descended into the womb of Queen Mangalavati or Sumangala, wife of King Megha of Ayodhya. King Megharath named the newborn as Sumati, wisdom or right thinking. Sumatinatha is due course inherited the kingdom. King Megharatha became an ascetic. After a long and peaceful reign, Sumatinatha too became an ascetic. He attained omniscience under the Priyangu tree on the 11th day of the bright half of the month of Chaitra. He established the four-pronged religious code and became a Tirthankara. On the month of Chaitra Shukla 11, he got Nirvana at Samved Shikra. Bhagavan Sumatinatha Deva was born in Koshalapur in Ayodhya. After a long span of lifetime, he took Diksha on 9th day of the bright half of the month of Vaishakha along with 1,000 other men. When Sumatinatha grew up, he was married to many princesses. Once his father, King Megha, told his wife that he wished to give the responsibility of the kingdom to Sumatinatha, since he is grown up, married and hoping to become a father very soon. He also said that he wished to go on the path of devotion and meditation and leave all the worldly things. This worried his queen and she started weeping. At this time his son Sumatinatha consoled his mother and said, "Mother, it is not good to stop any holy soul to lead on the path of sadhana. He is going on the path of salvation, so we should not stop him." King Sumatinatha thus handled his kingdom with great wisdom. But one day, while in deep thought, Sumatinatha thought about his father and suddenly he heard somebody, probably his inner soul, say, "Lord, the entire humanity is waiting for you. The world of knowledge is waiting for you. Start with the real purpose of your life." He became detached with materialistic things. For the entire year he distributed the wealth from his both hands among the people. And Vaishakha Shukla 9 in Ayodhya, in a jungle, he removed his hair in just 5 handfuls, removed all the worldly things from his body and became an ascetic and disappeared in jungle for 20 years. He was on constant meditation and sadhana. He attained omniscience under a Priyangu tree on the 12th day of the bright half of the month of Chaitra. Once when Gardhar Muni Devavrat asked him that how did he attain Tirthankara Nama, then Lord replied, "I was son of King Shankapur, Vijayasena. I with my strength won over all our enemies. Once when I was wandering, I heard Acharya Muni Vinayananda. I became so impressed that I took Diksha and got lost in deep meditation. There I attained this Tirthankara Nama Gotra." Now it had been 1 month Lord Sumatinatha was on Samved Shikara. He was on fasting. He gave his last piece of knowledge to the people on 9th day of the bright half of the month of Chaitra. He got Nirvana from there. In his previous incarnation, Lord Abhinandana's soul was Purusha Simha, son of Vijayasena, king of Shankapuri town in the Purva Mahavideha area. While he had gone for a walk in the garden one day, the prince listened to the discourse of Acharya Vinayanandan Dev. He became detached and turned ascetic. As a result of vigorous penance and higher spiritual practices, he earned the Tirthankara Nama Gotra karma. Completing his age, he reincarnated as a god in the Vijayanti dimension. From Vijayanti dimension, the soul that was Purusha Simha descended into the womb of Queen Mangalavati Sumangala, wife of King Megha of Ayodhya. The news of the queen being pregnant made the atmosphere of Ayodhya live with happiness and joy. One day, two women and a little boy came to the king's court to seek justice. One of the women put forth her case before the king. Sir, we both are wives of a rich seafaring merchant. Our husband has left for his heavenly abode, leaving behind we two a son and a heaps of wealth. The child truly belongs to me, but this second wife of the merchant claims to be her. This is nothing but a conspiracy to grab the wealth that would be inherited by the child. Save me, my lord, I seek my son and justice from you. The story narrated by the other woman was also the same. Shouting charges and counter charges at each other, both the women claimed the possession of the child. The child could not indicate his true mother, as he had got equal affection from both. As the boy was born in some remote place, there was no eye witness available. The king was in quandary. Even after a lot of probing and weighing the evidence, he could not solve the problem. Any ill-conceived solution could end up in doing injustice to the innocent. The king and his ministers all were in a fix. The night was approaching and the king was getting late for his dinner. He adjourned the case and went into the palace for dinner. The queen asked, "Today you are late for the dinner. Your Highness, what is the matter? Was there some complex problem?" The king narrated the case of the two women and their child and said, "No one is able to say firmly which one of the women is the real mother of the child and which one is the pretender." The queen said with a smile, "Your Highness, let a woman solve the problem of women. Send the case to me and allow me to resolve the issue." Next morning, the queen herself came to the king's court. Both the women and their son were produced before the queen. There was no apparent indication in the behavior and disposition of the two women that could give any indication of the genuineness of one. All of a sudden, the queen got an inspiration and she said, "This enigma has no simple solution. There is one object and two claimants. The object, being a person, cannot be split into two. Under the circumstances, the only solution I can think of it is to keep the matter pending. I carry a pious soul in my womb. Let us wait till it is born and is ready to resolve this issue. During the period of waiting, let the son and the property of the deceased be taken into the custody of the state. Till then the claimant may wait." Hearing all this, one of the claimants readily accepted the arrangement, but the other started weeping. In a choked voice she said, "No, please don't separate me from my son. I will not be able to survive without my son for such a long period. I withdraw my claim. Let the other woman take the child as well as all the property of my husband. My only submission is that I may be allowed to least meet the child. I will be contented with that only." The queen recognized the pain and concern of a mother's heart. She gave her judgment. The woman who immediately agreed to my proposal is the impostor. Her attachment is not to the child but to the wealth. She may be imprisoned. The one who wants to surrender her claim is the real mother. The child and the wealth may be given to her with all honor. Everyone present in the assembly was dumbstruck by this witty method of judgment. The impostor pleaded guilty and submitted to the pardon. On the 8th day of the bright half of the month of Vaishakha, the queen gave birth to a son. A wave of peace and goodwill swept the whole world, appreciating the fact that the marked improvement in wisdom and sense of judgment during the pregnancy was the influence of the presence of the illustrious and pious soul. King Megha named the newborn as Sumati, wisdom or right thinking. When Sumati grew up, he was married, and his renunciation handled the king Sumatinath thus handled his kingdom with great wisdom. But one day, in the deep thoughts, he left everything, suddenly heard somebody, and he left the kingdom to ascetic life. Sumatinath was the fifth Jain Tirthankara of the present age. According to Jain beliefs, he became a Siddha, a liberated soul which has destroyed all of its karma. He got Nirvana on the Chaitra, month of Chaitra. His father's name was Sri Megharaja, mother Mata Sumangala, clan name Ishwaku, sources of descent Jayant, date of descent Garbha Kalyan, Shravana Shukla Paksha, place of birth Vinita, date of birth Janma Kalyanak, Vaishakha Shukla Paksha, age 40 lakh Purva, height 300 Dhanusha, body color golden, place of enlightenment Ayodhya, date of enlightenment Chaitra Krishna Paksha, date of Diksha Vaishakha Shukla Paksha, Diksha tree or Vatavriksha Vaishakha Shukla Paksha, place of Nirvana Samad Shikharji, date of Nirvana Chaitra Shukla 11, chief disciple Ganadhara Charama, head of female ascetics Kashyapi, god of organization Tumburu, goddess of organization Mahakali, heaven Jayant Vimana, period of practices 20 years, number of disciples 100, number of ascetics 3.2 lakh, number of female ascetics 5.3 lakh, male laity 2.81 lakh and female laity 5.16 lakh.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते.
Jaina Agama Gyan.
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्.
Bhagavan Padma Prabha. Bhagavan Padma Prabha was the sixth Jain Tirthankara of the present age, Ashwarpani. According to Jain beliefs, he became a Siddha, a liberated soul which has destroyed all of its karma. Padma Prabha, also known as Padma Prabhu Swami, was born to King Sridhar Raja and Queen Susi Madevi at Kaushakambhi in the Ikshwaku clan. His birth date was the 12th day of the Kartik Krishna month of the Indian calendar. Padma Prabha in his earlier incarnation was King Aparajit, who ruled over Susima town in the Purva Videha area. He was a pious and peace-loving person. Once listening to a discourse on the goal of human life and its earthly bondage, he became detached and taking Diksha from Acharya Pishitta Sharva embraced asceticism. His soul through countless lifetimes had undergone rigorous spiritual penances and achieved an exalted state of enlightenment. Hence he was reborn as the next Tirthankara. His soul descended into the womb of Queen Sushima, wife of the king Dharana of Kaushambhi. During her pregnancy, the queen had a desire to sleep on a bed made of lotus flowers. It is said that to fulfill her wishes, the gods themselves came down to make arrangement. Such was the greatness of the unborn soul. The queen gave birth to a son on the 12th day of the dark half of the month of Kartika. Since the newborn had a soft pink glow like the lotus, he was named Padmaprabha. As years passed, the prince grew up and they got him married. Soon the king handed over the kingdom to his son and retired to the forest to pursue his spiritual practices. Padmaprabhu used to perform his duties towards the kingdom very nicely, but now he started spending more time in meditation in a small place near his lotus river. And one fine day, while in meditation, he attained the entire knowledge of his past incarnations. He saw the reasons why he had to come on earth from heaven, and he decided to take Diksha and move on the path he has taken birth for. The next morning he stood under a tree, discarded all his worldly things, removed his hair in 5 fistfuls and recited Namo Siddhanam. He moved on the way where he could destroy all the karmas attached with him and preach the world the importance of life, religion and right karmas. A spirit of detachment came over him and he embraced asceticism. Sitting under a tree, he underwent rigorous penances, and on the full moon day of the month of Chaitra, under a banyan tree, he achieved omniscience. He began preaching to people about the goal of human life, the spirit of renunciation and the qualities of non-violence, right action, right conduct and right knowledge. After many years of preaching, he attained nirvana on the 11th day of the dark half of the month of Margashira. Bhagwan Padmanabha Prabha preached the qualities of compassion, brotherhood and exhorted the people to realize their true potential and to break the infinite cycles of birth and death by undergoing spiritual penances and practices. He advised them to realize the true goal of human life and not get carried away by the attachment and desire for sensual pleasure. Such exalted souls are born for redeeming mankind, and their pure and high levels of spiritual attainment sanctify everyone and every place they go to, and India owes her spiritual prowess to such highly realized souls who have been born from time to time to liberate mankind. Birth of Lord Padmaprabhu and naming ceremony. From the dimensions of gods, the being that of Aparajit descended into the womb of Queen Sushima, wife of the king Kaustubhi. One day Queen Sushima had a desire, and on the 12th to have a bed made of lotus flowers. As this was a desire of a pregnant mother, the gods made arrangement for its fulfillment. And the newborn had a soft pink glow like lotus flowers. The king named him as Padmaprabhu. After 6 months of spiritual practices, on the full moon day of the month of Chaitra, he attained omniscience under a banyan tree. Propagating right religion for a long time, Bhagwan Padmaprabhu wandered around, at last arrived at the Samyat Shikhara. He got nirvana on the 11th day of the dark half of the month of Margashira. Lord Padmaprabhu was the 6th Jain Tirthankara of the present age. His father's name was Sri Sridhar, mother Mata Sushima, clan name Ikshwaku, sources of descent 9th Gravi Eka, date of descent Magha Krishna Paksha, 8, place of birth Kaushabi, date of birth Kartika Krishna Paksha, 12, age 30 lakh Purva, height 250 Dhanusha, pole, body color red, place of enlightenment Kaustubhi, date of enlightenment Kevala Jnana Kalyanaka, Chaitra Shukla Paksha, date of Diksha Kalyanaka, Kartika Krishna Paksha, Diksha tree or Vat Vriksha, Chatra, place of Nirvana, Samvet Shikharji, date of Nirvana, Margashira Krishna Paksha, chief disciple Shubhavrat, head of female ascetics Rati, god of organization Kusum, goddess of organization Shama, and heaven Uvari Margrevi Eka.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
जैन आगमा ज्ञान।
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्।
Bhagavan Suparshvanatha, the seventh Tirthankara. Bhagavan Suparshvanatha Dev was born in Varanasi on 12th day of the bright half of the month of Jaisatyam. His father name was Pratishtathena and mother name was Prithvi Devi. After a long span of lifetime, he took Diksha on 12th day of the bright half of the month of Jaisatya along with 1,000 other men. Suparshvanatha in his earlier incarnation was King Nandisena of Kshetrapuri. He was highly spiritually enlightened and due to his rigorous penances and disciplines he was reborn as a Tirthankara. His soul entered the womb of Queen Prithvi Devi, wife of King Pratishta Sen of Varanasi. It is said that the kingdom was in danger of being attacked by neighboring kingdoms, but when the child was in the womb, suddenly the attitude of the kings changed and everyone wished to have friendly relations with King Nandisen. The king was very happy and realized that it was the power of divinity in the unborn child that spread good vibrations everywhere, resulting in peace and brotherhood in the kingdom, which would soon spread by neighboring kingdoms. Soon the queen gave birth to a son on the 12th day of the Jyeshta Shukla Paksha of Vishakha month. There was love, peace and prosperity everywhere. Since the kings or enemies, Parsha, who wanted to attack their kingdom, now became friends, Suparsha, the king was named Suparshva. After some years, as he grew up, they got him married. Later, his father decided to hand over the kingdom to him and went away to the forest to meditate and pursue spiritual practices. Suparshva then ruled the kingdom wisely for many years, conducting the affairs of the state ably and looking after his subjects well. One day he noticed the falling of the leaves and the wilting of the flowers, and a feeling of detachment came over him. He clearly saw all his past lives and the purpose of his present birth. He then decided to embrace asceticism. A number of his subjects too embraced asceticism along with him. After rigorous spiritual practices on the 6th day of the dark half of the month of Falguna, he achieved omniscience. He then began preaching to his followers the tenets of Jain philosophy of the renunciation and right action, right knowledge and right conduct. His love and compassion engulfed all and thousands of people who came into contact with him began to follow his way of life. Finally, after many years of preaching, he attained nirvana on the 7th day of the bright half of the month of Falgun at Samvat Shikha. Bhagavan Suparshvanatha was born to exhort mankind to follow the right path of renunciation and true knowledge, to inculcate the qualities of compassion and non-violence, and to attain the true goal of human life, namely liberation, after giving up bondage and attachment and transcending the infinite cycles of birth and death that man has been undergoing for centuries. Such divine beings are born for the sacred purpose of raising mankind to liberation and spreading peace, love, and brotherhood among people. India has been blessed to have such holy beings sanctify the land and lift millions of people to self-realization and bliss. His father's name was Pratisthasena, mother's name Prithvi Devi, birthplace Varanasi, birth tithi Jyeshta Shukla Dwadasi, Diksha Tithi Jyeshta Shukla Trayodasi, Keval Gyan Tithi Falgun Nakshatra Vishakha, Diksha Sati 1000, Sadak Jivan 1 lakh Purva less 20 Purang, age lived 20 lakh Purva, Lakshan sign Swastik, Nirvan place Samad Shikhram, Nirvan Sati 500, Nirvan Tithi Falgun, and color green.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
Jaina Agama Gyan.
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्।
Bhagavan Chandra Prabha, 8th Tirthankara. Bhagavan Chandra Prabha was the 8th Tirthankara of Jainism. His father was King Mahasena and mother Queen Sulakshana. At the time of Chandra Prabha's birth, mother desired to swallow the nectar of the moon. Her desire was fulfilled and she gave birth a child with a moon-like complexion. So the child was called Chandra Prabha. The symbol of Chandra Prabha is half moon. Chandra Prabha is his previous incarnation was King Padma of Mangalavati, town of Dhaktikanda. His rigorous penance and austerities of a number of lifetimes had brought him to such a state of spiritual exaltation that he was reborn as the next Tirthankara. His soul descended into the womb of Queen Sulakshana, who was the wife of King Mahasena of Chandrapuri town. When the child was in her womb, she had 16 auspicious dreams which confirmed that the soul in her womb was a Tirthankara. There were a large and beautiful white bull entering her mouth, a lion, a garland of flowers, a giant elephant having 4 tusks, goddess Lakshmi seated on a lotus, a glorious sun, the full moon shining in the sky, a sea of milk, a golden urn, a flag which was fluttering, a vehicle of the gods which moves in space, a pond filled with lotus flowers, a heap of gems, a fire without smoke. The whole kingdom was overjoyed. There was goodwill and brotherhood everywhere. The atmosphere in the kingdom was very pleasant and friendly. It is said that during her pregnancy, looking at the beautiful full moon, the queen had a strange desire to drink the glowing streak of moonlight. The king cleverly managed to satisfy this desire. On Pausha Krishna, 13th of the Hindu calendar, the queen gave birth to a handsome boy whose face was fair and glowed like the moon. So they decided to name him Chandra Prabha. He was a kind, patient and courageous boy. The people loved him and later on they got him married. The king then handed over the kingdom to him and went into the forest to perform spiritual penance. Chandra Prabha ruled wisely for a number of years. One day as he was in prayers, he felt as if the entire humanity was calling out to him to save them. Suddenly he remembered the purpose of his birth and a deep sense of detachment came over him. He decided to embrace asceticism. After severe penance, he attained omniscience. He continued to teach the people the tenets of Jain philosophy of compassion, non-violence, right thinking, right conduct and right action. After a long period, he attained nirvana at Samvit Shikhra. The symbol of Chandraprabha is the moon. The idol of Chandraprabha is found at the Tijara Jain temple in Rajasthan, and it is a very famous pilgrim center for the Jains. Bhagwan Chandraprabha exhorted mankind to realize their divine nature and to transcend the cycles of birth and death and seek eternal liberation. His compassion and love endeared him to everyone. A number of people embraced asceticism along with him. Such supreme souls are born to help humanity to attain greater heights, and India is blessed to have such pure souls born in this sacred motherland. One day, Chhatrapati was sitting in the balcony of his palace and was into deep meditation. He was thinking that he should get out of this cycle of birth and rebirth. He then heard someone saying that he should move ahead to achieve the main goal of his birth, of his life. The entire human community is waiting for the knowledge which he will give them. When he opened his eyes, there was nobody, but he understood that they were Lokantik Dev. He realized the real purpose of his life. Straight away, he went to his mother's room and asked her permission for accepting asceticism. After this day, King Chandraprabhu gave charity every day for the entire 1 year. After a year, he went outside the town, discarded all his worldly possessions, removed hairs with his fist and took Diksha and disappeared into jungles. After 3 months of acute spiritual practices under Priyungu tree, he shed away all the 4 Ghati karmas and attained omniscience. For a considerably long period, he continued to enlighten the people and propagate the true religion. When his end approached, he went to Samvit Shikhar, and after a month of long fast and meditation, got liberated and got nirvana.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
Jaina Agama Gyan.
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्।
Bhagwan Pushpa Danta, the 9th Tirthankara. Lord Pushpa Danta, the 9th Tirthankara, is also known by the name Shuvidhinath. Pushpadanta became a Siddha, a liberated soul that has destroyed all of its karma. Pushpadanta was born to King Sugriva of Kakandi and Ramadevi in the Ishwaku race. Pushpadanta's birth date was the 5th day of Margasira Krishna month. During his earlier incarnation as Emperor Mahapadma, Pushpavati Vijaya purified his soul to him extent of earning Tirthankara Nama and Gotra Karma. Pushpadanta took birth in the Vijayanta dimension of gods. From the Vijayanta dimension, he descended into the womb of Queen Ramadevi, wife of King Sugriva of Kakandi town. When Queen Rama was pregnant, then she experienced an extraordinary capability to develop process for doing even the most difficult of tasks. Everyone got overwhelmed at her skill. When the child Pushpadanta was born, The king Sugriva named him as Suvidhi. During the teething period of the child, the mother got a craving for playing with flowers. As such, he was also popularly known as Pushpadanta or Flower Tooth. Pushpadanta led a normal princely life of luxury and pleasure, but was always aloof. He became an ascetic at an early age and attained omniscience only after 4 months' rigorous spiritual practices. He got nirvana at Sambed Shikharji on the 9th day of the dark half of the month of Kartika. The tradition of the four-pronged religious fort started by Bhagwan Rishabdev steadily became extinct after the nirvana of Bhagwan Pushpadanta. After his nirvana, first the ascetic organization disintegrated and a time came when there was no ascetic left. The religious discourses too were given by common citizens or Shravaks. In the tradition started by Bhagwan Rishabdev, the ninth Tirthankara, who established the four-pronged religious code, was Bhagwan Suvidhinath. During the earlier incarnation as emperor, Mahapadma of Pushpa Kalvati, Vijay purified his soul to the extent of earning Tirthankar Nam and Gotra Karma. He took birth in the Vijayanta dimension of gods, and from there he descended into the womb of Queen Ramadevi, wife of King Sugriva of Kakandi town. The symbol of Suvidhinath is crocodile. Great souls like Bhagwan Suvidhinath were born to help mankind across the ocean of samsara and escape from the infinite cycles of birth and death by practicing the principles established by the Tirthankaras and attain liberation. It is said that after the nirvana of Bhagwan Suvidhinath, the ascetic organization as begun by Bhagwan Rishabha disintegrated, and there were hardly any ascetics left to even give discourses. People began to be influenced by material pleasures and began forgetting the tenets of Jain philosophy. The symbol is crocodile. Lord Pushpadanta, also known as Suvidhinath, was the ninth Jain Tirthankara of the present age of Sarpani. According to Jain beliefs, he became a Siddha, a liberated soul which has destroyed all of its karma. His father was Sri Sugriva, mother Mata Ramadevi. Clan was Ikshvaku, sources of descent is Anant, date of descent is Falguna Krishna Paksha, place of birth is Kakandi, date of birth is Magna Krishna Paksha, age is 2 lakh Purva, height is 100 Dhanusha, body color is white, place of enlightenment is Kakandi, date of enlightenment is Kartika Shukla Paksha, date of Diksha is Magha Sira Krishna Paksha, Diksha tree or Vatavriksha is Sali, place of Nirvana is Sambed Shikharji, date of Nirvana is Kartika Krishna Paksha, first person to donate food Swami Pushpa, period of meditation 4 years, chief disciple Varaha, head of female ascetics Varuni, god of organization Yaksha Ajit, goddess organization Yakshini Sutarka, heaven Ananta Devaloka, number of Muni 2 lakhs, number of Aryeka are 1,20,000, number of Shravak 2,29,000, number of Shravika 4,71,000. During the period of pregnancy, Queen Rama developed a strange capacity to perform things in the correct process and to develop process for doing even the most difficult task. Everyone got astonished at her skill. On the birth of the child, their guru, Kuluguru, Sri Yashodhadra, came there to see the child. Looking at him, the king, he said, "King, your son has all the qualities of becoming a great man. I think Queen, because of her prayers, which she offered with Suvidhi, correct process, has got him. So according to me, his name should be Suvidhinath." During the teething period of the child, the mother got a craving for playing with flowers. As such, he was also popularly known as Pushpadanta, flower truth. Pushpadanta as a king. Pushpadanta grew up, he was married to many princes. He used to spend most of his time in meditation and other devotional works. One day King Sugriv thought of following the path of renunciation. He appointed Pushpadanta as king and left for jungles to practice asceticism. King Pushpadanta performed all his duties of worldly life but still remained detached. One day Shivadhinada was thinking about his worldly life. He was upset as to for how long will he keep on moving in the cycle of birth and rebirth. Then suddenly he saw everything about his past life in front of him as a moving picture. This made him realize the goal of his life. He decided to leave everything and move towards his goal, complete salvation, moksha. On the 6th of Margasira Krishna Paksha, according to Hindu calendar, he removed all the worldly belongings from his body, pulled out his hair with the fist, said Namo Siddhanam, and disappeared in the crowd. He became an ascetic and indulged in rigorous penance and lofty spiritual practices. After becoming a saint, Shivadhinada went roaming from place to place, spreading the message of peace and religion. He faced many attacks from the wild animals. Many times women tried to attract him towards them, but in vain. Many natural difficulties came in his path, but he faced all with courage, patience, tolerance, and deep meditation. After 4 months of rigorous spiritual practices, he attained omniscience under a Malur tree. Shivadhinada ji was now Arihant Shivadhinada Bhagwan. In his first Samvarshana, Mahapandit Varaha of that time also came and asked many questions to Arihant Prabhu. Shivadhinada answered all the questions, and Varaha submitted himself in the feet of Lord and took Diksha. His last pravachan was on a hill of Samvet Shikharji, from where on the 9th day of the dark half of the month of Kartika he shed away all the remaining karmas and attained nirvana. Extension of religious ford. The tradition of the 4-pronged religious ford started by Bhagwan Rishabdev gradually became extinct after the nirvana of Lord Pushpadanta. After his liberation, first the ascetic organization disintegrated, and then a time came when there was no ascetics left. The religious discourses too were given by common citizens or Shravaks. Slowly the influence of wealth became overpowering, and people started forgetting the principles of 5 O's, including ahimsa and truthfulness. The discipline of spiritual principles gave way to ritualistic exchanges of wealth and total indiscipline.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते.
Jaina Agama Gyan.
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्.
Bhagavan Sitalnath, 10th Tirthankara. Bhagavan Sitalnath was the 10th Tirthankara of the present age according to Jainism. According to Jain beliefs, he became a Siddha, a liberated soul which has destroyed all of its karma. Jains believes Shitalanatha was born to King Dhradharath and Queen Nanda at Bhadilpur into the Ishwaku dynasty. His birth date was the 12th day of the Magha Krishna month of the Indian national calendar. The being that was to be Bhagwan Shitalnath in his previous but one birth was the king Padomatar of Shushmiya town in the Pushkar island. When his son reached adulthood, the religious king gave his kingdom to the son and took Diksha from Srishtada Muni. Vigorous spiritual practices and worship of the pious soul, as mentioned in the scriptures, resulted in his acquiring the Tirthankara Nama and a Gotra Karma. Completing his age, he reincarnated as the king of the Pranath dimensions of gods. The Badalipur town in the subcontinent of Bharat ruled King Dridharta. In the womb of his queen Nanda descended the being that was Padmodar when he completed his age in the dimensions of gods. One day, when early in the morning King Dridharatha was busy in his work, when a Dasi of queen came and asked if queen can come and meet him now. Dridharatha agreed and asked her to come in his study. The queen went in there and quietly stood beside the king. He was lost in a book. King asked her the purpose of coming. So she added that she had seen some very auspicious dreams early in the morning. It was like a chain of 14, 6, and 16 according to Digambara Jain sect, great things. King immediately said that these dreams were like the same as Bhagwan Suvitinada's mother saw. This meant that she was going to give birth to a pious soul who would become Tirthankara. On the 12th day of the month of Magha, Nanda Devi gave birth to a baby boy. One day during the pregnancy of Queen, due to some strange ailment, King Dhritarashtra had high fever and acute burning sensation in his body. All the medicines, mantras, ointments were applied, but Dhritarashtra could not feel an inch better. Queen was standing by his side and crying because she could not see the pain of her husband. Out of anxiety, she put her hands on the head of the king, and as if a miracle had happened, the moment Queen pressed his head, he got relief, and he asked her put her hands on his shoulders too. To his own and everybody's surprise, wherever the queen touched, Dhritarashtra got relief. After this incident, the king decided to name the newborn as Shitala, cool, calm. From his childhood, Shitalnath was a very decent child and very simple one, but he was famous for his obedience towards his parents. When he grew older, he married at the request of his parents. He used to spend a lot of time in meditation and the devotional work. One day, King Dhritarashtra coronated his son as king and went into jungles to become an ascetic. King Shitalnath was known for his planning and administration. All the neighboring kings used to come to him for advice, and in the same process used to take some religious knowledge also. One day King Shitalnath was sitting alone and was lost in deep thoughts when he realized who he was in his past life and that he has come down to earth from the dimensions of God. He felt upset that for how long will he keep on coming and going in the world? He decided to take Diksha and achieve his ultimate target, Nirvana and Moksha. He took permission from his mother, who already knew the day would come. Shitalnath transferred the responsibility of the kingdom to his next generation and moved on his true ways. After a year's donation of wealth, he came out of the castle and removed his hair with his fist, removed all the worldly possessions, uttered the words Namo Siddhana, and disappeared in the crowd. Along with him, thousands of other men and women, kings and servants, did the same. The whole atmosphere was fragrant, musical, and magical. He spent 3 months continuously under a peepal tree, and on the 14th day of the dark half of the month of Paush, he attained omniscience. Kevalagyan. For a long time he went place to place spreading knowledge and preaching people. On reaching Samvat Shikri, he announced his 1 month fast. On dark half of the month of Vaishakhi, he completed his fast as well as the circle of his life and death. He attained nirvana. Lord Shitalnath was the 10th Jain Tirthankar of the present age of Saripani. According to Jain beliefs, he became a Siddha, a liberated soul which has destroyed all of its karma. He was a Kalpavriksha, is his symbol, and Srivastava, according to Svetamba. His father's name is Sri Dhritarashtra, Mata is Mata Nanda. He belongs to the clan of Ikshvaku. His sources of descent is Pranath. Date of descent is Vaishakha Krishna Paksha. 6th place of birth is Badalipur. Date of birth Janma Kalyanaka Margasira Krishna Paksha. 12. Age 1 lakh Purva. Height 90 Dhanusha. Holes, body color golden. Place of enlightenment Badalipur. Date of enlightenment Paush Krishna Paksha. Date of Diksha Margasira Krishna Paksha. 12. Diksha tree or Vatavriksha Priya Yangnu. Place of Nirvana Samvat Shikriti. Date of Nirvana Vaishakha Krishna Paksha. First person to donate food is Punar Vasu. Period of meditation 3 years. Chief disciple Ganadhar is Anand. Head of female ascetic is Suyasa. God of organization is Brahma. Goddess of organization is Ashoka. Heaven is Achyuta Devaloka. Number of Muni is 1 lakh. Number of Aryikas are 1,06,000. Number of Shravaks are 2,89,000 and Shravikas are 4,58,000. Famous Shitalnath temples we find in Calcutta, West Bengal, Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. In his previous birth, Shitalnath is the Bhigu. He was the king of Padmore of Sushima town in his Pushkar. And his naming ceremony was a strange element, as king could be saved and his path of renunciation. He transferred the responsibilities and went into renunciation. And in the last, he spent 3 months continuously under a peepal tree, and the 14th day he had Kevalagyan, and he completed his fast of circle and he attained nirvana.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोस्तुते.
Jaina Agama Gyan.
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्.
Bhagavan Shreyasanath 11th Tirthankar. Bhagavan Shreyasanath Dev was born in Shihanpur on 12th day of the dark half of the month of Phalgun. His father name was Vishnu Raja and mother name was Vishnu Devi. After a long span of lifetime, he took Diksha 13th day of the dark half of the month of Phalgun along with 1,000 other men. From childhood, in his earlier incarnation, The being that was to become Lord Shreshnath purified his soul as King Naligulam of Khema town in Pushkarwar island. He performed hard and deep spiritual practices and purified his soul to high extents in his life. Due to this, he acquired the Tirthankar Nam and Gotra Karma and went to the Mahashankara dimension of gods. From the Mahashakra dimension of gods, the being of Lord Shreshnath descended into the womb of Queen Vishnu Devi, wife of King Vishnu Raja of Shimhapur. One morning, Queen said to King Vishnu Raja about the 14 auspicious dreams she saw early in the morning. Upon asking about the meaning of these dreams, Kulguru Kaundinya said that the child which the queen is carrying in her womb would not be an ordinary child but a great person, a pious soul. On the 12th day of the dark half of the month of Bhadrapad, Queen Vishnu Devi gave birth to a son. Entire town filled with the atmosphere of festival, with happiness and celebrations all over. King decided to name his newly born son as Shreyans Kumar. From his childhood, Shreyans was a very decent child and very simple one. Time went by very soon. Everybody praised the beauty, dutifulness, bravery, courage, administration and devotion of Shreyans Kumar. Everything was unmatchable. Though he himself was not interested, but because of the happiness of his parents, he married several times. One day King Vishnu Raj thought that his son is so young but still spends a lot of time in meditation and spiritual upliftment, and he is old and still not bothered. It is the time now that he should put responsibilities of the kingdom on the shoulders of his son and go for the upliftment of his soul. He did exactly the same as he thought. Prince Shreyansh was now King Shreyansh Kumar. His ability to rule was popular among the people and neighboring kingdoms. After ruling the kingdom for many years, Shreshnath began to feel restless. In his meditations, he saw all his past lives and realized the purpose of his birth. Handing over the kingdom to his son, he embraced asceticism. Many of the members of the royal family and his subjects too followed him and embraced asceticism. He underwent rigorous spiritual penances, and on the 15th day of the dark half of the month of Magha, under a mango tree, he achieved omniscience. He continued preaching and exhorting people to follow the principles of Jain philosophy. They included compassion, non-violence, right action, right living, and right conduct. After a number of years of spiritual disciplines and preaching, he attained nirvana on the 3rd day of the dark half of the month of Shravan at Samvatshika. The symbol of Shreshnath is rhinoceros. Bhagavan Shreshnath was born to liberate mankind and guide them to break worldly bondage and transcend the infinite cycles of birth and death. Divine beings like him are born due to compassion to enable struggling mankind to rise above sensual pleasures and seek the path of self-realization and bliss. Their very presence transforms and purifies the atmosphere and makes it sublime. The great land of Bharat is fortunate that great souls like Bhagwan, Shreshnath and other Tirthankaras have taken birth here. He being the 11th Tirthankar of present age, Avasarpani, he has destroyed and his soul got liberated. His symbol is rhinoceros. His father's name is Sri Vishnuji. Mata is Vishnu. He belongs to clan Ishwaku. Sources of descent is Achyut. Date of descendant is Jyeshta Krishna Paksha. Place of birth is Simhapuri. Date of birth is Keval Gyan, Janma Kalyanak, Falgun Krishna Paksha. Age is 84 lakh years. Height is 80 Dhanush poles. Body color is golden. Place of enlightenment is Simhapuri. Date of enlightenment is Keval Gyan Kalyanak Paush Krishna Paksha. Date of Diksha is Falgun Krishna Paksha 13. Diksha tree or Vat Vriksha is Tanduka. Place of Nirvan is Samvit Shikhar Ji. Name of Nirvan Shravan Krishna Paksha. First person to donate food is Nanda. Period of meditation is 2 years. Chief disciple is Ganadhara is Goshubh. Head of female ascetics is Dharini. God of organization is Aksharaj. Goddess of organization is Manavi. Heaven is Achyutat Devaloka. Number of Muni are 8,40,000. Number of Aryaka is 1,03,000. Shravak is 2,79,000. Shravika is 4,48,000. Famous Shreyashnath temples: Sri Digambar Jain Shreyashnath Mandir, Shingapuri, Sharnath district, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. Jain Svetambar Bada Mandir, Ramghat, Varanasi, Uttar Pradesh. In his earlier incarnation, he was to become Lord Shreyashnath. He purified his soul as King Nalingagulam of Chema town in Pushkar Island. He had the path of renunciation. Years went by when Shreyans Kumar one day saw his eldest son Sudharma and thought the same as his father thought during his time. This was the time when Shreyanath Swami learned everything about his past life and his true purpose of coming to this world. He started donating for about an year. After an year's donation of wealth, he came out of the castle and removed his hair with his fist, removed all the worldly possessions, uttered the words Namo Siddhanam, and disappeared in the crowd. Along with his thousands of other men and women, kings and servants did the same. The whole atmosphere was fragrant, musical, and magical. After a long reign, Shreyas Kumar became a Shraman and within a short span of 2 months attained omniscience on the 15th day of the dark half of the month of Magha under a mango tree. He got Nirvana at Samvit Shikharji on the 3rd day of the dark half of the month of Shravan. It was during his period that that was to be Lord Mahavira reigned as the first Vasudev Triprishta. After the death of Triprishta, his brother Baldev Achal became a disciple of Dharma Ghosh, who was a follower of Shreyashnath. Achal got liberated in this birth.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तु ते।
Jaina Agama Gyan.
नमो अर्हन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो उवज्जयाणं नमो लोये सपसहूणम्।
Bhagavan Vasupujya, 12th Tirthankara. Bhagavan Vasupujya was the 12th Tirthankara in Jain Dharma of the present age, Avasarphani. According to Jain beliefs, he became a Siddha, a liberated soul, which has destroyed all of its karma. Vasupujya was born to King Vasupujya and Queen Jayadevi at Champapuri in the Ikshvaku dynasty. His birth date was the 14th day of the Falgun Krishna month of the Indian calendar. In his previous incarnation, Lord Vasupujya's soul was King Padmotar. King Padmotar ruled over Mangalavati town of Ardhapushkar island. He was a person devoted to spiritual pursuit. In later part of his life, he took Diksha from Acharya Vajranabha. Reducing the tarnish of karma by penance and spiritual practices, he earned the Tirthankara Nama and Gotraka karma and incarnated as a god in the Pranat dimension. Vasupuja was the king of Champa town in the Bharat subcontinent. His queen was Jayadevi. Besides being a great warrior, King Vasupuja was a compassionate and charitable person. The queen too was benevolent and she inspired the king in his charitable activities. The being that was Padmotara, after completing his age in Pranath dimension, descended into the womb of Queen Jayadevi. It was morning time and sun was shining brightly over Ganga river. On the third floor of a beautiful palace near the shore of Ganga was King Vasupuja sitting on his deep thoughts when Queen Jayadevi came to him and expressed her anxiousness to know the meaning of 14 auspicious dreams she saw early in the morning. King was very happy and explained that these dreams are seen by a woman who is about to give birth to a pious soul, a Tirthankara. On the 14th day of the Falgun Krishna month of the Hindu calendar, Queen Jayadevi gave birth to a son. It is said that when the queen was pregnant, the king of gods Indra came to convey his veneration to the future Tirthankara and his mother. As Indra is also known as Vasu, the newborn was named Vasupuja, venerated by Vasu. As Vasupuja grew, so grew his inherent detachment and apathy for mundane affairs. He had no attraction for the regal splendor and grandeur. When he became young, his parents wanted him to marry, but he declined. He even conveyed that he had no intention of ascending the throne. In spite of all persuasions from his family members, he renounced the worldly life and became a Shraman on the 15th day of the dark half of the month of Falgun along with 600 other persons. He renounced worldly life and became an ascetic. Many members of the royal family and his subjects joined him, and after intense spiritual practices, on the second day of Shukla Paksha of the month of Magha, under the Patala tree, he achieved omniscience. It is said that in one of his travels, he came to Dwarka. There, the king of Dwarka was Vipristha, who was the brother of Vasupuja. Vasupuja explained to him his past lives. Hearing this and understanding the bondage of life and the infinite cycles of birth and death, he fell at his feet and took Diksha from him. He then continued preaching and encouraged his followers to realize the true goal of life, and after a number of years, on the 14th day of the bright half of the month of Ashada, he attained Nirvana. Lord Vasupuja was the 12th Tirthankara and his symbol was buffalo. His father was Vasupuja, Mata Jayadevi, and he belonged to Ishwaku clan. He was born at Champapuri and his sources of descent were Pranata Devaloka. Date of descent Garbha Kalyanaka Ashada Krishna. Date of birth Janma Kalyanaka was Falguna Krishna. Age was 72 lakh years. Height was 70 Dhanusha poles. Body color ruddy. Place of enlightenment Champapuri. Date of enlightenment, that is Keval Gyan, Paushaka. Date of Diksha was Falguna 15. Diksha tree or Vatvriksha was Patala. Place of Nirvana was Champapuri. Date of Nirvana was Ashadasa 14. First person to donate food was Saudara. Period of meditation is 1 year. Chief disciple Ganadhara was Shubhuma. Head of female ascetics Dharani. God of organization Yaksha Kumara. Goddess of organization Yakshini Chanda or Gandhari. Heaven was Pranata Devaloka. Number of Muni was 72,000. Number of Arika was 1 lakh. Shravak are 2,15,000 and Shravikas are 4,36,000. The famous Vasu temples are Mandargiri, Siddha Kshetra, Bihar, Sri Champapuri, Digambar Jain Siddha Kshetra, Vasu Marble Temple at Mylapore, Chennai, Vasu Swami Temple is Jamnagar, Gujarat, Sri Digambar Jain Kshetra at Maharashtra. After becoming a saint, Vasu went roaming from place to place, spreading the message of peace and religion. On the second day of the Magha Shukla, he came to the same place where he started his religious journey under the same Patala tree. And during meditation, all the Gati karmas destroyed and he attained Kevalagyan. The second day, a Samvarshana was organized in Champa town itself and light of knowledge was spreading all over. Bhagavan Vasu came to Dwaraka. King of Dwaraka was Dviprashtha, brother of Vasu ji, and he was one of the devotees. He came to Vasu ji and asked him that why did he had to kill a neighboring king Tarak. On this, Bhagavan Vasu ji told him that in the past life he was King Parvat and there was a very beautiful girl in your kingdom, Gumana Manjari. Your neighboring king was Vindhya Shakti, who was very powerful and cruel. He asked the girl from you and you refused to do so. He attacked your kingdom and you lost the battle. Being beaten, you were very sad and depressed, so you took Diksha and went on the path of devotion and meditation. But even then you could not forget and forgive Vidya Shakti, so in the next birth you became what you are today and he became the king Tarak. This is why you killed him. Hearing all this, Dviprashtha fell on the feet of Vasu and took Diksha from him, joined his divine army. Bhagavan Vasu got Nirvan in Champa town in the 14th day of the bright half of the month of Ashada.
यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्राहीनं च यद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव महावीर नमोऽस्तुते।